My name is Liu. Welcome to my channel. It's been a while since last time I did a live like that, like this one. And today I would like to make some work here. I don't have all my sketchbooks around. Also, everything was actually packed because I am moving from this area. So to start, the Ingno canal. As I draw here, I'm gonna be talking with you, and basically the Ingno canal is a narrow flattened passage, we can call it this way, that has approximately 6 centimeters in length. And basically transverse the lower part of the anterior abdominal wall. And it runs also parallel to the medial half of the inguinal ligament. So here we have a few. I'm not sure if it will be nice as I imagine, because this is my first time using. I don't think that's the first time, but I usually like to record from my sketchbook. So I hope you get the understanding of this structure, the understanding at least that you need to for this structure in specific. As you can see here, the inguinal canal has this oblique direction from the deep and lateral to this superficial and medial, and it will extend towards the external genital region. So here we have the inguinal canal. And we have different layers of muscles here. We have the external oblique muscle, internal oblique muscle. We have the transversalis muscle. And what I'm drawing here, guys, I'm basically drawing the inguinal canal. As I draw, I will explain the structure. So usually the inguinal canal, the existence of the inguinal canal is linked to the embryological development. So basically the structures that occupy the inguinal region, they will not originate in their final adult position, which means that during the early development, the tests actually, the testicles will arise high on the posterior, on the posterior abdominal wall, and it will also be close to the development of the kidneys. And what will happen is that as the development progress, they will migrate inferiorly towards the scrotum. And all of this guided by a connective tissue structure known as the gubernaculum. So the tests during the embryological development, they will be positioned at the level, close to the level of the kidneys, just to understand. I'm basically drawing the inguinal canal. Some people are curious about which kind of illustration is this one. This is pretty much a more technical medical illustration. And the idea here is just show you the representation of the inguinal canal, which is a structure that all of us guys, we have. And it basically communicates the structures that we have within the abdominal cavity with outside of the abdominal cavity, what we have outside of the abdominal cavity. So yeah, this is basically what I've been drawing here. And this, if this area is weak, actually, some people can develop inguinal hernia. This is one of the clinical aspects involving the understanding of the inguinal canal. But I will be talking more as I progress with this live. Okay, I will explain later what I'm actually drawing here. But here you will see a representation of the hip. So this is basically the hip bone. Now, something important to mention is that the descent of the testes is usually accompanied by an invagination of the parietal peritoneum, and that's also called the processus vaginalis. And this peritoneal extension precedes the testes. So, for example, as it passes through the abdominal wall, and later, of course, will contribute to the formation of the tunica vaginalis. I have to adapt the way that I draw because I'm not with the glove, so if I touch the screen, we'll change the position. Here is basically the femur. We have the trochanter major here, lesser trochanter here, head of the femur, neck of the femur, and then the shaft of the femur. Let me just expand a little more and then you can have a better look. Yeah. Another important thing is that normally the processus in vaginalis close before the birth, and this leaves actually behind what we call a potential pathway within the abdominal wall, which is the one responsible, if it actually not responsible, but if it is weak, can lead to a inguinal hernia. And this pathway is called the inguinal canal. Okay, so here we have the femur. Basically, here we have the representation of the different layers of the abdominal cavity. And what else? You probably know very well that the abdominal wall is basically designed to maintain the strong barrier against internal pressure. So, for example, when you breathe in, your lungs will feel, the diaphragm will just descend like this, and this descending movement of the diaphragm will create more pressure, intra-abdominal pressure, and all of this, what will happen is that, sorry, I thought that someone sent a message. Oh, just a second. Okay. Yeah, I was actually mentioning that the abdominal wall is basically designed to maintain this strong barrier against the intra-abdominal pressure, and yet it must also contain the passage that will allow structures associated with the reproduction to reach the external genitalia. So this is something important to understand, that some of the structures related with the reproduction will pass through this canal. Now let me see if I can add some color here. Well, basically gonna draw another. So this is one of the examples. Here is actually the inguinal canal. Okay. Okay, so the canal therefore represents an anatomical compromise. Don't forget this. Because basically this developmental necessity creates an area that will potentially that can potentially be weak, and where usually herniation may occur. Okay, now I'm gonna draw from another view. Well, what I'm gonna do, guys, I'm gonna come back again later, and I'm gonna make another drawing. And yeah, let's just finish with this one here, and later we'll come with another one. Take care and see you later today.